Good morning, San Diego. Welcome to Homefront. My name is Eve Nasby, and I'm your host, and I'm in studio with one of my most favorite people, AJ Brooks. AJ.
Eve, it's always great to share a desk with you.
I know, we've got a great show coming up.
We have a fantastic show lined
We've
up.
got an awesome guest who I just met, and he is incredible.
Jake Sneeden is the chair of Surfrider San Diego. He's going to talk about how we protect our oceans, waves, and beaches.
Awesome, I can't wait for that one. And I've got Bronwynn. She is with a Blue Run Mile, and she's going to talk about how this whole event came about, and it's going to bring a tear to your eye. I can't wait to...
You're already wearing blue, Eve.
I know. In commemoration, she's got a Memorial Day event coming up that we are not going to want to miss. And then we have one of my good friends, Paul Falcone. He is America's leader when it comes to HR stuff. And so for our audience, we're going to talk about interviewing skills and how to get that job. So we've got a great show coming up, and I say we get started.
Let's get started here on Homefront. Welcome back to Homefront. In a hero segment today, we have Jake Sneeden, a good friend of mine and chair of Surfrider San Diego. Jake, welcome to the studio.
Thank you so much for having me, Aaron.
I really appreciate you being here. Now, Jake, you're originally from the Massachusetts area, is that right?
That's correct, yeah. Born and raised in New England.
So did you grow up surfing in New England?
I did, yeah. I surfed in New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Maine, and it's not as good as out here, but when it gets good, it's good.
Now, most people think of the East Coast as being warm, but that's really only up to Cape Hatteras. Up there, you have to wear a much thicker suit. How thick of a mill suit do you have to wear to surf in New Hampshire?
So in the winters, when it's good, 5 mil, a hood, boots, gloves that are about 7 mil, and my dad wears 6 mil, but I'm a little tougher than he is.
Dad, that's for you. So you went to school in the DC area.
Yep.
And then got interested in policy, and then when it was time to figure out where you wanted to be, you picked America's finest city with 73 miles of beaches, that's right?
That is correct, yeah. I did a couple things on the East Coast, trying to get into energy policy mostly and energy work, and then my fiance and I had a conversation, thought, you know, let's move to the West Coast, let's give it a shot, let's try San Diego, it looks amazing. The access to the beaches here is just unparalleled. You can't get it in other cities, so here we are.
So I know that you don't think of yourself as a hero, but everybody that's a part of Surfrider protects our ocean, waves, and beaches. And that's not just beach cleanup, and that's not just using recycled products. It's not just bringing your own instead of disposables. It's also policy. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Absolutely, yeah. The volunteers, so we're a really volunteer-based, volunteer-run organization, especially here in San Diego. And the volunteers really drive our policy, our programs that we have. Here in San Diego, the policies that we've driven have really focused on styrofoam use and plastic use in our communities and how we can reduce those, because what we're known for is our beach cleanups. We're at the beach, we're picking up trash, but what we really want to do is ensure that there's policy in our communities so that the plastic, the trash isn't getting to the beach, so we don't have to do those cleanups anymore. And so last year in San Diego, we instituted the plastic bag ban. We're working in Encinitas to get a polystyrene ban passed. And so all these things have ripple effects throughout our community so that when you're walking down the beach, those containers, those single-use containers aren't ending up on the beach. So that's been a big drive for us. We also have a policy manager here. She's Julia. She is great. She really helps us make sure that we are monitoring and tracking the issues up and down the coast that could impact beach access. And we also have a lot to do with policies on water. So the pure water plant that's moving through, we're doing a lot there to make sure that the water that we use here is getting recycled and reused here in San Diego rather than wasted.
So when you talk about plastics, you know, I made a lot of New Year's resolutions back in January. I haven't stuck to most of them, but one was an attempt to try to bring a reusable container everywhere I went. And I have a 16-ounce mug that's made of stainless steel that I can wash that I've been pretty successful at bringing everywhere. I still use paper from time to time, but that's one of the resolutions that I really think makes a difference. I saw that Surfrider showed how much ends up in landfills and how much sometimes ends up going to the beach. You know, every drainage system here in San Diego County really ends up in the ocean. And that's not true in a lot of places in the country. So even if you don't live west of the 5, it's important to think about where things go.
Absolutely. After it rains, you see that water running, it's going to end up in the oceans. You see the San Diego River. I mean, things just filter in there, and then it ends up emptying out right into Ocean Beach, and you can't surf there. after that happens. It's not just the plastic, it's also the things you can't see, the runoff that's going to make you sick, that's going to give you a head cold for 3 or 4 days or worse. And that's a big problem. That's another one that we're definitely focusing on, is how can we ensure that there's clean water, that you don't have to wait 48 hours to surf. That's something I wasn't used to coming from New England. We don't have that problem. If it's raining, it's probably better surf because it's stormy, so get out there. You can't do that here.
Now, something you talked about is beach access. And just because you live on the beach doesn't mean you own the beach. The beach belongs to everyone. That point of dynamic impact up to the high tide mark in many states is sort of public property. And I know living in San Diego, sometimes we don't like to share the beach with our neighbors from Arizona that come over, but the beach belongs to everyone, and that's something that Surfrider fights for. And when you talk about beach access, you're talking about parking and access means more than just being able to walk down to the beach. It means making it available for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a broad issue. I mean, we're looking at everything from are there trails there that should be there? Is there a right of way that maybe got covered up that a homeowner is hiding? That's a problem. But also, are there places that are affordable to stay so that someone who's coming from far away, not normally able to access the beach, can they stay there at a reasonable cost and enjoy this amazing resource that we have here in San Diego?
It's only amazing as long as the water's clean. I think you brought something with us, a Smartfin.
I did indeed. I got it right here in my back pocket. Yeah.
So this is not just a fin on a surfboard. Futures makes this, but it's a device that sends a message. It's solar powered, is that right?
It's battery here,
Okay.
and what it does is it basically collects data while you're surfing. So this is something that we're pioneering at the national level, but Surfrider San Diego has the opportunity to really design and implement the pilot program. So how are these going to get rolled out in communities along our coastline? What it does, it collects data. Right now, it's pretty basic. We're looking at temperature. We're looking at GPS, location.
pH is one of the factors?
And pH down the road, I think, pH, and salinity down the road. And what that will do is give, you surf, maybe you surf 2 days a week, 3 days a week. There are plenty of people here that surf 7 days a week. That's going to collect unprecedented amounts of data for scientists. The data gets uploaded into the cloud. Scientists can access it when they need it. And this is so important because the data is really hard to collect in that near shore zone.
This is a fascinating thing, but not everybody surfs. There's so many ways to protect the ocean waves and beaches. If someone wants to get more involved with Surfrider, tell us how to do that.
That's a good question. So there are a lot of ways to get involved. I would say one is becoming a member. That helps support us. You get on our email list, that sort of thing. The best way to really take your first step and really get involved is to do core volunteer orientation. We have one coming up next month. You'll get basically speed dating for our 9 different committees here in San Diego, what they're working on, and figure out what interests you the most.
Jake, thanks for coming on the show. You're a hero to us because you protect our ocean waves and beaches. That was Jake Sneeden, the chair of Surfrider San Diego, here on Homefront Heroes.
Welcome back to Homefront. We are in our finance section with my good friend and no stranger to this show, Paul Falcone. Paul, welcome.
Thanks, Eve. Great to be here.
You are a nationally recognized expert on all things HR, but one of the things that I think we can focus on today is interviewing skills, because we all know that when we are transitioning out of the military into the civilian workforce, corporate America is a really scary place to be.
It's true.
And you have written an incredible book called Boots to Loafers. And Boots to Loafers is kind of like a field guide of how to become the best that you can, not only in interviewing, but actually when you get there and into the company. So can you tell us a little bit about what's in Boots to Loafers and some tidbits for our audience?
Sure. The first thing I'd say is I co-wrote it. John Phillips was the original author.
He's from Coca-Cola.
He's from Coca-Cola,
Yeah.
and he called me up and he said, Paul, I'm starting this organization called Boots to Loafers, and I want to write this book. But you know the interviewing stuff inside out. You've been a headhunter, you've done HR stuff, you've done both sides of the desk. And I had written a number of books on the topic. So he said, would you co-write with me? And I said, I'd love to. I mean, that was my way of giving back to the cause.
Right.
And for me, it was very special.
Yep.
So.
And so what are some of the nuggets that are in here that you could tell our audience? How can we be uber successful in the interview situation?
Uber successful.
That's a German word.
It's a good German word. The idea being that it is a little overwhelming. If you think of someone who's graduating from high school, someone graduating from college, someone moving into retirement, these are major transitions in people's lives. What John wanted to write with that book was really for career military. At the time, 2014, when the book came out, there were a lot of changes going on, where a lot of people were being displaced as things were moving along. And he said, Paul, I really want this to be for people who have been professional military, and how do they transition into the private sector? So we really took a pretty broad approach, but for the interviewing section, we wanted to make sure we can humanize them. I mean, people get so nervous and they overthink this stuff. And my best advice to people is just be yourself, but also understand, raise your sensitivity to the fact that it isn't the military. You do need to change your jargon a little bit. The yes ma'am, yes sir doesn't quite fit in, and we really went out of our way to kind of make it more humanistic and just be yourself, and that was an important message.
That's so very important. Now, what about networking? Sometimes folks get out and they think that they're going to land a job right away, and unfortunately, it's not the way it always goes. Submitting your resume ad nauseum on internet sites can be a lesson in futility and can lead to disillusionment and depression because you're not getting that job. So what can you help our viewers understand as far as that networking piece?
Well, there's a few things. When you talk about the expectations that you're setting, I think you don't want to set your expectations too high. That can be a little unrealistic. It's almost the equivalent of a private sector person with an MBA, CPA in finance who says, I want to get into marketing. They're great skills, but they don't necessarily translate immediately.
Right.
That being the case, so many companies out there, I mean, there's a very positive spirit in corporations to help hire ex-military. So you want to kind of take advantage of that too. And the thing that we went over in the book was, even if we're going to move you out of wherever you happen to be, San Diego, and plop you down and pick a city, Dallas, you can still build a network very, very quickly, even if you don't have a social network there to begin with, by knowing how to kind of research the dominant and growth-oriented companies and reach out to them on a proactive basis. It's very flattering when you make that kind of approach.
And would you recommend LinkedIn?
Yeah, actually. When you talk about the smartest way to do this, LinkedIn is probably your number one. Facebook also is excellent for trying to find a job. But I would also say, if you, besides looking at social media, Indeed.com is a great aggregator, because that'll send the jobs to you. You don't have to spend all your time picking and choosing among which websites do I go to. You set it up so that it sends you the job openings that are relevant to you either daily or weekly. And so you've got them coming in that way. You've got your social media search going on. Many will use headhunters. There's a whole different approach to this thing, but you can't get overwhelmed. You have to be careful not to get swallowed up. It's too much, too fast sometimes for people.
Right, and I think it's important too to have a mentor, somebody like you who's in corporate workforce and saying, hey, Paul, I really need help, I'm stuck. And so having that mentor to help navigate through those harsh waters of corporate America is important.
Yeah, well, I wanted to show what's behind the curtain. This isn't rocket science, but I do think they have to understand, okay, this is what the hiring managers are looking for. And there's a lot of pressure on hiring managers today to hire ex-military. The companies want to do that as an initiative. So you don't have to be Superman on an interview. You just don't want to step on a third rail. Or step on it misses awareness and kablooey, you said the wrong thing. So just to be careful with that.
And our military brings so much leadership, and you have written one out of the 11 books that you have written is your newest one called 75 Ways for Managers to Hire, Develop, and Keep Great Employees. Can you tell us a little bit about this book?
As an HR guy, Eve, I never had a book that I can give to my senior vice presidents, my vice presidents, my directors, my managers to get them on the same page. And the way I did it was very simple. It's almost like 4 parts. Part 1 was effective interviewing and hiring, because if they get that right, it makes life a lot easier for everyone else. Part 2 was leadership offense, knowing how to be a great boss, knowing how to develop talent. Part 3 was leadership defense, again, knowing how to protect yourself and protect your company. And finally, the last part was on what I call leadership wisdom or workplace wisdom, kind of becoming, personal branding and becoming someone's favorite boss.
So you really have 2 audiences. You've got folks who need to know how to interview, and they can pick up a book, Boots to Loafers, Finding Your True North, great title. And then there's the other 10 books that you've written for leadership, for folks in human resources who are business owners, to help them get great people within their organization.
From the time they walk in the door to the time they head out, I like to cover it all, so that's my goal.
Well, you are an amazing American icon in HR world.
Thank you.
We are blessed to have you back for, I think this is your third, fourth, fifth time, I don't know, but you're welcome back anytime.
Thank you, Eve. My pleasure.
It's great having you on the show.
Thank you.
Don't go away. We'll be right back with more of Homefront.
I came into my transition with an extremely short timeline, and I didn't have the resources or the knowledge to know what I needed to do or where I needed to be looking for my next job. THF gave me direction, helped me look inside myself, and made me ultimately successful in taking that leap from the military sector over into the civilian sector.
Welcome back to Homefront. We are so excited to have in studio with us today for our family segment, Bronwynn Blackmon, who's the community director of Hunt Family Homes. And we've got her friend Carrie Moschetto. Welcome, you guys.
Thank you, E.
I am so excited you guys are here because we're going to talk about something that I'm going to try not to cry about, about this run. But to set the stage, tell us about your organization.
So I belong to Hunt Military Communities. We manage over 3,000 homes across the nation. We're the largest privatized partnership with the Department of Defense housing. So I'm located on Camp Pendleton, Duluth Family Housing.
That's so great. And you are sponsoring an amazing event. So tell us about that sponsorship.
Yeah, so in February, our company decided to partner with Wear Blue Run because it's all about the fallen and the family and remembrance. Yeah. Well, we provide quality homes to our military families, so we thought this would be a really great partnership, and so we've done that. And we're excited because our first run's coming up on Memorial Day. I'm so excited.
It makes so much sense. And you know what? One of the things that I love and I'm very passionate about is teaching my family the importance of celebrating or commemorating Memorial Day. It's not just about getting a day off of school, right? I want our kids to understand this. And you have really brought this, Carrie, into that sort of significance and meaning. It's not just a 5K, 10K run. So tell us about that and really how you're educating the people that are showing up. They're not just runners, they could be crawlers and walkers too, right? So tell us about that.
Well, Wear Blue Run to Remember, it's just this amazing organization that serves to be like a living memorial for all of the fallen service members that we have. So in Oceanside, there wasn't really any Wear Blue events around, so I decided to start hosting one myself, which they're such an amazing organization that they'll let you do that. They'll let anybody come out and do that.
You're a Marine spouse too, so.
Yeah, I'm a Marine spouse,
Right
and so we do our run right outside the base. We do it in the Oceanside Harbor. This will be our 4th year having a Memorial Day run. It started out pretty small. Our first year I had like 41 people. I think it was just my friends that showed up.
Well, you have a lot of friends.
Well, they brought, their kids and their friends, and they brought other people. So last year we had almost 200 people. Wow. This year Hunt has come in and they have been amazing. There was, Bronwynn came to me and said, well, if you could have anything you want for the run, what would make it better? What would help? So they've been there just providing all of the extra support, volunteer staff, amazing things. This year I'm really excited. We'll have an OEF memorial wall, which we've never had before. So it's a complete list of the 6,900 plus names of service members we lost just in the last 15, 16 years of war.
6,900. And you have a 6-foot wall with every single name on it.
Yeah.
And talk about what you're going to do right before the run.
So what we do is we get together and we have what's called a circle of remembrance. And we gather in a circle, we say a prayer, and then we all call out a name of a fallen service member. Some people will call out several names. Unfortunately, they know a lot of people who've passed away. So it's just a great thing if people show up and they don't have a name, we have names to give them. So it's very special that it's somebody, we have a whole list of names of people who have died on that day. So they get to, experience how impactful it is that I'm saying the name of somebody who died on Memorial Day maybe 2 years ago or 3 years ago. So it's very impactful for these people who have never been around it or experienced that.
Wow, and you yourself are a runner.
Yeah.
Right, so if we're running, we can just turn to you and you can pull us along to get to the finish line, right?
I was never a runner until Wear Blue. I still say sometimes that I'm not a runner, but it's made me into a runner.
And you know what, this is a great thing. It brings families together and they can understand the true meaning of Memorial Day, which is so important. How can we support you? What are the opportunities that are out there?
come out.
Come out, just show up.
Just show up. You know, everybody brings their kids. It's a stroller-friendly course. It's family-friendly, dog-friendly. It's on the sidewalks in Oceanside. And really, everybody's welcome. It's free. We want people to just get out there and experience and see, you know, that little time in the morning. Just take that time, go out, see what Memorial Day you can do on Memorial Day for those who have given it the ultimate sacrifice for us. And then you can go about your day. It's just a really cool thing just to come out and see it.
What has this meant to you? You obviously started this a couple years ago. Tell us what this means to you.
Oh, it's a great way to honor my friend's husband. That's what kind of started getting me into it. My friend Natasha lost her husband shortly after my first child was born, and I didn't kind of know how to help her through it and get her, let her know that I would never forget him and that we wanted other people to remember him. So that's why I do it. I go out and I'm always running for Michael. So every race I do, I've got my Wear Blue shirt on and I've got Michael's name on my back and he kind of carries me. I'm in pain and I don't want to run and I think about them. I think about their son that they have and I think about all of the things that he would want to do if he was here. So I kind of let him carry me when I don't want to run.
Wow, that is incredible. You two are an amazing dynamic duo, doing great things for this community and really driving home that true meaning of Memorial Day. So thank you for all that you're doing. Thank you for your sponsorships. And you've got all the volunteers, you've got all the money that you need, so we don't even have to ask for money or volunteers.
No, and I want to thank those sponsors, Pain Pest Control, Pacific Place Systems, Brightview Landscaping. They have just, and this is all volunteer. Nobody's getting paid for this day. None of my staff is getting paid. And we're just out there and bringing awareness to the community. And again, I'm not a walker, but I am participating. It has become a new passion of mine, and maybe I'll turn into a runner. I don't know. That's the goal, I guess. But there'll be people along the route that's going to root people on. And like Carrie said, you don't need to do the whole route. Just come out.
I love the fact that you can do it in memory of someone.
Yes.
It really is a motivating factor, right?
Yes.
And you've got another run too, where you hold up pictures of the fallen. Can you talk about
the Rock and Roll Marathon, San Diego Marathon and Half Marathon, it's the following weekend. It's the weekend right after Memorial Day, and they have what's called the Blue Mile. And they have the Blue Mile at Rock and Roll marathons all over the country. We need about 200 volunteers, so if anybody wants to volunteer for that and come out and hold a flag for somebody, that would be amazing. But the first half of the mile is called the Faces of the Fallen posters. So it's posters of fallen service members. If you're going to run the marathon, you can request Wear Blue has a poster of somebody that you know, or hold a flag. At the second half of the mile, there's volunteers holding flags with the name of your fallen service member. So it's a really amazing mile in the San Diego Rock and Roll Marathon.
Thank you, Carrie Moschetto. You're amazing. Thank you for starting this. Bronwynn, thank you for supporting and all that Hunt is doing for our military families. You guys are remarkable. And thank you for being a part of our show.
Thank you, Eve, and thanks for wearing blue.
I'm going to see you guys at that event.
Yes.
And you're going to push me.
I will push you.
We'll do it. We'll absolutely do it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We've got more of Homefront coming up. Don't go away.
Welcome back to Homefront. This is Joel Hernandez, branch manager with Synergy One Lending. And today we have a very special guest, Angie Henry with New Palace Realty. She's going to tell us about a really beautiful property in Carlsbad that some veterans would find amazing. And so, Angie, how are you?
Hi, thank you, Joel. Thank you so much for having me. Yes, this property is gorgeous. It is located at 3211 Rancho Campanero in Carlsbad, 92009. And it's a great home, definitely would suit well a veteran family. And the ideal home, or this home, what it features is it has a guest house, and the guest house would be ideal for extended family, a guest, or any, even a rental. It currently rents out. So the home is gorgeous.
Okay, I had a chance to take a look at it. It's definitely a beautiful house, and Obviously, here in San Diego, I mean, there's so many veterans. We have over 200,000 veterans that could potentially take advantage of buying a beautiful house like this. So tell us, what's the price point for this place?
The home is listed at $979,000.
Okay, so it's definitely going to be a little bit higher for some of our veteran community, but I think what you and probably even a lot of our veteran community doesn't even know is that the VA loan allows them to take a loan that's higher than the county limit. So I think we discussed earlier that, you know, it's possible to go over $612,950, which is the current county limit. And for this house right here, you know, if somebody wanted to get a conventional mortgage, they'd be limited at $612,950. So, you know, that'd be almost $366,000 for a down payment, which most people aren't going to have. But a veteran could put down as little as $91,000 and still be able to get a really awesome loan, great interest rates. It's more flexible, so it could be a really good opportunity for, you know, the veteran that's, you know, dual income, or maybe they're already out, they're self-employed, they want to buy a really beautiful place. So.
Exactly, yes, it would definitely be a great property, especially only, you said, what, $91,000 for a down payment for a VA loan? Wow, that's great, that's fantastic. So if we've got any families that are interested in this home, definitely they can reach out to me or you, and we can get them into this home.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to touch on like the real estate market right now real quick, when in terms of VA loans and purchases and offers and whatnot. So do you ever feel like sometimes listing agents are kind of hesitant to try to accept the VA offer, especially like on a jumbo loan?
Correct, yes, I think they are, because the lack of knowledge, the lack of understanding what a VA loan entails. So if we've got a professional such as yourself, then that could definitely guide them in the right direction and help them understand the VA process. It's definitely, you know, very easy. When I list properties, I definitely look forward to working with military families and working with VA loans. That's not a problem for me at all.
Absolutely. So how can somebody get in touch with you?
Well, someone can reach me at 760-420-6191, or they can email me at angieforhomes@gmail.com, or they can go to my company website at newpalacerealty.com.
Okay, perfect. So veterans, if you have any questions about how to get started in the real estate process, how to purchase a home or VA loans, you can definitely contact myself as well too at 760-655-1409. And thank you so much for watching, and we'll come back with some more Homefront.
Hey, welcome back. AJ, what another phenomenal show we had this morning.
It was a fantastic show.
You know what, as we move into Memorial Day weekend, and we're obviously already in the heart of it, it's always important to remember it's not just a day off of work.
That's right.
It's not just a day off of school. We are commemorating the lives of those who have given their all for us as a country. And so that Memorial Day run that Bronwynn talked about, definitely want to get out there and support that, and just encouraging our viewers to educate your kids on what the real meaning of Memorial Day is all about.
I'll be wearing blue.
Yeah, and then go out and have fun.
And speaking of blue, you know, our ocean waves and beaches are the Homefront. And Jake Sneeden taught us about a Smartfin. I never thought there'd be a device that sophisticated you could put on a surfboard. Never thought of surfers as scientists, but they certainly are now.
Exactly. There's some good-looking scientists out there, too. And then, of course, the one and only Paul Falcone, one of the most prolific authors in his field, helped us to understand how to interview well to get that job.
Yeah, it was a great segment.
So well done, once again.
Yeah, it was a fantastic show.
So if you know people that we need to know here at Homefront, please reach out to us on Facebook or our website at homefrontmedia.org. Have a great and safe Memorial Day weekend, and we'll see you next week.